Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Coaching with Leticia. Just trying to adjust myself and my camera. So you have here, welcome. This is week 2 of my 5-week taster course to my business. So it's a little introduction of who I am, what I'm about, and also what I'm able to provide for you. Let me make sure I don't look like I'm not wearing a top. Let me just pull that up there. There you go. So week 1, we looked at service accommodation. We go this way. Week 1, we looked at service accommodation. I did a live Q&A on TikTok, and you asked all your questions and concerns to do with service accommodation and property, predominantly about service accommodation, how I was able to manage the challenges which I had. So one of those challenges was the closed doors. Being a new service accommodation operator or host, a lot of people don't really, I'm not quick to take you on. And there's a lot of rigmarole and things you have to go around in order to get your first property. I'm able to help with that. And week 2, which is today's lesson, we're going to be doing a short course on leadership and management, which is really key. It's a good skill to have leadership and management qualities, and we're going to look at that today. Then week 3, we're going to be looking at a short course on business structures. There are many different business structures, so I'm going to break it down as to which business structure is what, and also what business structure you feel most comfortable or confident doing. Then I'm going to speak about international business, the advantages and the disadvantages of an international business. And then last of all, I'm going to be looking at my transitional coaching skills. So I'll be sharing with you budgeting, planning, goal setting, and financing as well. Okay. I do have details in the description box with if you wanted me to be in contact, or if you wanted to join my mentoring program. At the moment, the first 100 people will get 40% off my mentoring. Sorry, not my mentoring, my service accommodation course. And if you don't need the service accommodation course, what I'm doing at the moment is 10% off my mentoring. Okay. What's involved is some people have already done service accommodation courses, but they just need a little bit of help and support, with their next steps, scripts, etc. So this is where I am here to help and assist you. So we are on week 2. Week 2, we are going to do a lesson on leadership and management. I'm going to share my screen. So if you do have any comments or questions, just pop them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them at the end of this lesson. Okay. So here we go. Leadership and management. Okay. We're going to be looking at communication, whether it'll be visual communication, things that you say, words that you pronounce, how you address yourself when you come into the room and engage with people. We're going to think about visionary, having a vision and thinking out of the box. Number 3, emotional intelligence. This is very much a buzzword, especially in the dating and relationship community. I'm going to be speaking on what emotional intelligence actually is and how we can address that in our leadership skills and abilities. I'm also going to cover decision making, being able to decide whether this is the right decision for you or not. There will be a lesson about critical path analysis that I will do, but that will take at least 15 minutes to about half an hour for me to break it down for you and explain. So this is not going to be part of this lesson, but I'll do it as another separate lesson. So looking at decision making and your critical path analysis. Team building, working as a team is really important. Yes, we might have entrepreneurial skills, but we still need people to perhaps outsource or do things for us, and also being adaptable. Okay. in business, as business professionals, being adaptable is so key. So for an example, a few years ago when we had the COVID outbreak, businesses had to adapt so quickly and so promptly to meet the needs of whatever the government is proposing that they need to do within that duration of time. A lot of businesses survived, and a lot of businesses didn't survive. So it's all about being adaptable in your business and working with the current legislations of what the government requires. So the foundation of great leadership, communication, is the number one skill employees seek in leaders. Okay, it's not just about speaking; it's about listening, understanding, and connecting. Okay, so we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listen more than you speak. Hear what people's needs and wants are, which is the basic fundamental thing in business. Finding out what people's needs and wants are and meeting those needs and wants. Okay, 86% of failures attributed to poor communication, whether that could have been written communication. I'm sure you've been in circumstances where you've written an email, sent a text message, and the person didn't read it the way you are trying to express it. Okay, so it's always good to learn and know how to communicate effectively, whether it'll be written or speaking, in and also your body language. Yeah. Sometimes people say when they go to networking events, and I coach them just before they go to the event, because sometimes they have this facial expression where it's not warm and welcoming. Yeah. So even non-verbal communication is a form of communication. 4.5% is more likely to retain top talent with strong communication skills in terms of employment and also in business relationships. So there's 4 pillars of leadership and communication. You've got active listening, clarity and brevity, non-verbal cues, and feedback culture. I have mentioned about non-verbal cues. So 55% of our communication is through body language, eye contact, posture, and our tone. Okay, it carries just as much weight as our words. Normally, when I do this presentation in the workplace, I give examples of what could be deemed as a nice way to say something and what could be deemed as a weight of negativity. Okay, someone could receive it in a negative way. I also do things like feedback sandwiches and how to give feedback to your staff members, and all of that training is also involved in a corporate setting. Active listening, so giving your full attention, ask clarifying questions, reflect back to what you hear to ensure understanding, and it also builds trust and it allows people to feel like they're being heard. Yeah, so bear that in mind as well. Clarity, so communication with purpose, using simple language, avoid jargon, slang, and respecting others' time. So, in terms of jargon and slang, I do and am going to be doing a course on business jargon, because some language that is used in the UK, which I'm from, may not be the same language that is used in the US, where somebody else could be from. It could mean the same thing, but it's just said differently. So, also understanding people's different cultures. If I was in Japan, for example, culturally, you would have to know how to greet somebody compared to if you was going to greet somebody not in the same way as you would in the UK. So feedback culture, creating safe spaces to be honest dialogue, delivering and receiving feedback constructively to accelerate team growth. Okay, this is where I speak to groups of people about feedback sandwiches and a way to kind of help people improve their team, as opposed to making them feel downtrodden, heavy, or less motivated in the workforce. So having a vision, so craft and compelling vision. So paint a vivid picture where the team or organization is headed. A strong vision motivates and aligns everyone. Okay, so please bear in mind, there's a saying about visions, about vision and provision. I can't think of it right now. But when somebody in a workplace doesn't have a vision or something to aspire by, they are left dormant. They don't know what to do with themselves. Okay. So be very, very clear in what the vision or the purpose of your business is. Now, thinking long term, so balancing immediate needs with strategic planning. So anticipate trends and prepare the organization for future challenges. As I've spoken before, the economic challenges with COVID. A lot of businesses went out of business because they weren't prepared. They didn't have any plans to manage the COVID epidemic and the things that were required. Some people didn't have enough reserve funds in their business to support them through that very challenging time. Communicate the why. So help every team member understand how their work contributes to the bigger mission, and purpose drives performance. Never forget that. Purpose drives performance. Always inspire through action. So lead by example, show unwavering commitment to the vision. Your behavior sets the standards for others within the organization. So emotional intelligence, I did say this is a very much a buzzword that people like to use in the romantic sense, in relationships. Oh, I want him to be emotionally intelligent. I want her to be emotionally intelligent. But what does it actually mean? What is emotional intelligence? Now, emotional intelligence, I've written here, is the ability to understand and manage emotions, yours and others. So first things first, guys, be self-aware. Self-aware, recognize your emotions and their impact on your behavior and your decisions. Okay, so be self-aware. Self-regulate, so manage impulses and stay composed under pressure or conflict. All right. I'm really keen on doing a short course on managing conflict, especially in the business sector, as well as relationships in a romantic sense and also in a business sense. Managing conflict, diffusing conflict, okay? Empathy, so understanding and share the feelings of your team members to build trust. All right. So when I've done talks and sessions before in workplaces, there is a task that I do that allows people to write anonymously what their feelings are and how they can, what would they need to feel better in the workplace. Okay. Social skills. So navigating relationships effectively and resolving conflict and inspiring others. As I said, managing conflict is one of the biggest things that, we all have very different personalities. We all think differently. We're all going to do things differently. But there is actually a way that we can work effectively together as a unit, as a business, as a company. Now, motivation. So drive yourself and others with passion beyond external rewards or status. So just encourage your staff, or even encourage yourself to be the best version of yourself. And this is where my coaching and mentoring comes into it. I'm able to support you. Look at your best assets. Look at areas in your life that you feel you need to improve. One example that I gave is sometimes we get to the middle of the year. We are nearly in the middle of the year. We're currently in June. Okay. Some of us have said, right, we've made our New Year's resolutions. I'm going to make sure I achieve this, and this, and this. And guess what? Life has gotten in the way. Okay. And you haven't been able to achieve those things that you've wanted to. But here I am, here to motivate you, here to encourage you. It is not too late. We still have time for you to achieve those things that you want to achieve this year. Okay. Making sure there's a vision. So craft a compelling vision, paint organization on here where the team organization is headed, motivates and aligns with everybody. Think long term, so balance immediate needs with strategic planning, anticipate trends, Prepare for future challenges. Okay. Communication, help every team member understand how their work contributes to bigger missions, and purpose drives performance. Inspire through action. So lead by example, show unwavering commitment to the vision, and your behavior sets the standard and tone for everybody. Okay. So decision making and adaptability. I'm getting tongue tied. Adaptability. Adaptability. So decision making, gathering data, but don't fall into analysis paralysis. Okay. Balance logic with intuition and experience. Include diverse perspectives before deciding. Own outcomes, both successes and failures, and learn from every decision to sharpen your judgment. And remember, I said in a lesson, I will teach you how to do a critical path analysis, which allows you to, if you're doing things like projects, it allows you to decide which path analysis is best to take in order to get the best result from your project. Okay. Being adaptable, embracing change, stay curious, pivot strategies with evidence in demands, model resilience for your team under pressure, and foster an agile culture that welcomes new ideas. So thinking about team building, okay, if you have your own business and you want to be diverse in terms of your recruitment, okay, great leaders build great teams, not just great individuals. So hire for diversity, seek cognitive, cultural, and experiential diversity, okay? So teams have blind spots. Varied perspectives lead to better decisions. Delegate and empower, assign meaningful responsibility, and trust your team to deliver. Micromanagement kills motivation and stunts growth. Celebrate wins, recognize effort and achievements publicly and also privately. Acknowledgement drives engagement and reinforces desired behaviors. Address conflict early, so don't let tension foster. Address disagreements directly and fairly, using them as often as opportunities to strengthen the team's dynamics. Communication is paramount. It underpins every leadership skill, and invest in it relentlessly. Okay. Have a clear vision, compelling vision unifies team and drives purposeful effort. Leaders with high emotional intelligence inspire loyalty and outperform. Decisions define culture. How you decide and how you own outcomes shapes trust in the team. Invest in your people. The best leaders develop other leaders, not just followers. Adaptability is a superpower. So the world changes fast. Leaders who evolve take their teams forward. Now, the art of communication is the language of leadership. That is a quote from James Hume. And leadership is not a title, it's a practice. Develop these skills every day and watch your team and you as an individual thrive. Okay. So now we're going to go into the second part of my lesson, which is about why leadership styles matters. Okay. So leadership styles shape personality, experience, emotional intelligence, family dynamics, and also a way of thinking. So a manager's leadership style is responsible for 30% of companies' bottom line profitability. This is from a Harvard Business Review. And 3,000 plus managers were in this study. So, key benefits of understanding your style. So, better communication and collaboration, stronger team, increased employee engagement, and visible leadership recognition. Okay. Having a nice humanistic approach with your team as well. So, being empathetic, we spoke about that already, and just being mindful that everybody comes from diverse backgrounds, has diverse issues, and being mindful and supportive of that as well. Now, these are very key major leadership styles that are very, very well known. Number one is democratic. We're going to go through each one, and then that'll be the end of our lesson. democratic, autocratic, laissez-faire, transformational, transactional, bureaucratic, and servant. Okay, so these are the 7 major leadership styles. So, first of all, democratic leadership style. It's good for creative teams, collaborative environments, complex decisions, requiring diverse perspectives. So, a democratic leadership is a leader that makes a final decision but actively seeks input from all the team members. Authority is delegated, skills and experience of the team are utilized. Now, the strengths of a democratic leader, it encourages creativity and engagement, high job satisfaction and productivity, and also the employees feel valued and heard. So challenges is reaching a consensus can be time consuming and not ideal for situations requiring swift decisions. Okay. So a democratic leadership style allows people to have free will, free speech, a lot of opinions, feedbacks, surveys, questionnaires is read and studied from the employees. Autocratic leadership style is top-down authority. So the leader decides everything. So leaders hold absolute power and authority. There's no consultation with employees before decision, as would be democratic, and everyone is expected to support decisions that are made. Some level of fear of the leader exists in that team. Perhaps there's somebody that you may know in your workplace right now is using this style of leadership. Okay, it doesn't work in every workplace or every leadership position, but you may know somebody in your workplace that leads in this way. Now, there are risks and there are some ways that it actually works. Okay, so the risk is employees are not always happy. They may take some time off from work because they're disgruntled. There tends to be a high turnover and low morale or inspiration to be in that workplace based on that style of leadership. It does work, however, to make swift decisions needed in crisis. This particular leadership style, somebody has to be quite highly experienced. And also, it says no team input required for outcome. Okay, so literally, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, let's just go. Now, laissez-faire, I know the French people are probably cringing at the way I'm pronouncing it because I don't speak French, but this is a French word. It provides tools and resources, then steps back, empowering you to use your skills to be motivated, okay, to do the best that you can do in the skills and abilities that you are hired to do it. There is risk, chaos without organization and team structure, and it's least satisfying and least effective overall. Um, team members tend to work autonomously. It's very hands-off, trust-based approach. Now, in this particular space and type of leadership style, maybe this might work in a creative space, as opposed to someone that needs to make a decision, an autocratic leadership style where you need to make a decision. This tends to be more of a creative space where you're led to just be creative and just go with what you're feeling, go with the flow kind of leadership style. Now, transformational leadership style motivates teams to exceed perceived capabilities, requires integrity, empathy, and strong vision. And it also allows you to get your teams to inspiring them to exceed their limits, associated with high growth and innovative organizations. Tasks grow in difficulties, deadlines tighten over time, and the some risk is some members may lack adequate coaching. Okay, so this is where I come into it, and I'm able to help you as an employer or as a business to inspire and lead your team to success. Transactional, so give and take, reward for renders. Sometimes this could be a good leadership style in sales. So penalties regulate standards and behavior, Risk is rigid environment curves creativity and innovation, compared to what I said before with laissez-faire, a very creative space, whereas transactional, bonuses, and sales figures, things like that, is more transactional. So your reward is based on your performance. Okay. Clearly defined roles and expectations. Incentive programs motivate performance. Number 6 is bureaucratic, okay? Process or driven policy first approach. So the power flows top to bottom in a hierarchy. I say this word, but I don't know if anybody understands what a hierarchy is. Maybe I will address it in another lesson. So new ideas face fierce resistance. So going by the book, strict adherence to policy, suitable for safety, critical or high value roles, not ideal for young, ambitious, growth focused firms. Okay, so maybe like a law firm or something a bit more strict in terms of policies. Servant and leadership. So serve first, lead second. A servant leader prioritizes the needs of their team above their own, leading by example, developing people to achieve their very best. So high integrity, strong ethical values to guide every decision. Positive culture, so builds high morale and ethical environment. Munificence, generosity of spirit towards all team members, and leading by example develops, elevates, and inspires the team. Now, servant leadership tends to be more pastoral, charitable positions and types of leadership style. You're not really going to find well, you could find autocratic leaders in a charitable or religious position, but in terms of serving the community, serving their people, that tends to be a charitable space. There are additional leadership styles. So you've got the coaching style, charismatic, and strategic. So the coaching style identifies and nurtures individual strengths, formulating strategies for the team to blend and work together cohesively and successfully. Then you've got the charismatic, so uses eloquent communication, personal charisma to motivate and inspire followers toward a shared vision. And last of all, strategic. So it leads the company's main operations and coordinates growth opportunities, supporting multiple employees layers simultaneously. Now, what I did is just a summary of the leadership styles and decision making, what it's best for, and what watch out for. Okay, so just starting with democratic, it's democratic. It's collaborative, yes. Best for creative teams. Watch out for slow consensus. So things could take longer to make a decision. You've got autocratic, so top down. So someone being quite, a dictator. Crisis speed. So if you need to make quick, immediate decisions, your workplace may have a high turnover and people will have a low morale or inspired to be creative. Laissez-faire, that's more of a team building, self-motivated experts, doesn't really need much direction because this is their creative space. Transformational is very much vision-led, growth organizations, and watch out for uneven coaching. Transactional, rules-based, so sales, clear targets, and there's less creativity space for them. Bureaucratic is policy-driven, safety or critical roles, stifles innovation. And last of all, servant. So that is mainly team-focused, building culture, and competitive situations. Now, self-awareness of your natural tendencies and strengths. The best leaders are those most flexible, switching styles as situations demand, okay? So it's not one rule for all. You can actually sometimes be an autocratic leader. You can be a servant at sometimes. You could possibly be laissez-faire. It really depends on where the business needs to go and what the business needs to do in that time. So choosing the right leadership style for you. So no single leadership style fits all organizations. Okay. So type of organization, mature or established. So versus growth orientated startup. Type of work, routine, structured versus creative, innovative work. Team experience, level of skill, experience, autonomy of team members, and also leaders' personality. Right, we have come to the end of my lesson, guys. I really do hope that you've learned at least one thing about leadership and management, whether it be for yourself or for your workplace. Again, I'm currently offering the first 100 people 40% off my service accommodation course, where you can get free scripts, free financial planning, free deal analyzer. I am CPD approved, free property deals as well. Now, if you are someone that's already done the service accommodation course and all you need is mentoring, support, and guidance, I'm offering the first 100 people 10% off my mentoring. It is for a limited time only, but I'm here to help you build your future and make sure that you are great and if not greater. Thank you so much for joining my lesson today. I really look forward to doing next week's lesson with you, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.